All right, here we go. Another slate of NBA totals here, and we're going to take a look at the four games on the board for this Thursday. NBA is in full swing. We're really excited. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the first game here. We got Atlanta and Washington. I'm going to go under the total of 204.5 at Pinnacle Sports. Looking last year. This total set today is 203.5, but all four games they played last year um, went well over this total. So I was a bit surprised that odds makers set this total where it's at considering the pace they went last year. But then we look at Atlanta this preseason and with Dwight Howard now, it seems like Coach Buds is, focusing a lot more on defense. They are the home team tonight, so I expect they're going to be able to control the tempo, a bit and handle Washington at least for the most part. Washington really was a poor defensive team last year, but I think this is going to be all about the tempo tonight. And so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to back under the total of that we got them at 204 and a half. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the next game here. We got Boston and Chicago. 210 and a half points. That's at Bookmaker right now. Again, check SBR, for the best value you can get always. Two out of the three last year they stayed under this total. Boston is coming off that back-to-back. Chicago, I don't think they're going to change that much from last year as far as their pace. I mean, they picked up Dwayne Wade, and I think Butler's going to have a really good year. But when you look at their team last year and offensively, their offensive output, we're talking about a team that ranked second in the league in field goal attempts per game. Even though they stayed under a couple times last year when these two teams matched up. And then you're looking at Boston, who ranked first in field goal attempts per game. So this sets up for a really fast-paced affair. Even though Boston's coming off that back-to-back, that might help Chicago. They're the home team tonight to go ahead and score some points. I think this is going to be really up and down. So we're going to go ahead and take over the total of that 210 and a half with Boston and Chicago. Next game up, we got the Los Angeles Clippers for Portland. I actually have a play on this game. Check out my other video for that. And right now we have it at 209. That's at Bet Online. Again, you got to check the odds there across the board. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go under the total on this one. Now, the last game they played last season was a 106 to 103 win by Portland, and it just seems like oddsmakers just kind of throwing something at the wall to see if it'll stick, because for the most part, these two teams, well, the last two games prior to that game, while Los Angeles played in Portland, they were well below this high total set by oddsmaker at 209. I just think that's way too high for this matchup here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take under the total. I'll be surprised, really surprised, if this one goes over. The Clippers, they're a great offensive team, but they're actually a really good defensive team. I mentioned in my other video, they ranked third last year in defensive effective field goal percentage defensively. So look for them to go ahead and ratchet things up a little bit against Portland, who shot lights out in that game one against Utah. And I don't think they're going to be able to repeat that performance. Portland always a tough place to play, but I like for under the total in this matchup here of that 209. I just think that's too many points in this game. And finally, our last game on the board, we got the Spurs and the Kings, and I'm just absolutely kicking myself because I had the Spurs written down. For those of you who watch my videos, San Antonio is my favorite team. My favorite coach is Stan Van Gundy, but Greg Popovich is my number 2 coach, and I had San Antonio written down, and then Danny Green was out, and I decided I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to roll with the Warriors. Now I'm just kicking myself for that because I had San Antonio. We all do that from time to time. But we'll get back on track with NBA. We've always had successful seasons with SBR, so we're going to go ahead and we'll have a successful year this year. Really having a lot of fun looking at these totals. So right now, odds makers have it at 206 and a half at sports betting. That's pretty much across the board right now. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go under the total. Mostly that's due to Dave Jorger, the head coach, coming over from Memphis. Really good defensive coach. I think the Spurs are not going to have as much. I thought Golden State just looked out of sorts defensively. Now, hats off to the Spurs. I love them. Great team. They're going to really be tough this year. But I like Dave Jorger. I think he's going to have Sacramento playing a lot better defense this year. And when we look at the games with Memphis And the Spurs, when Jorger was head coach, you're looking at totals that really weren't this high at that 206. So I think he's going to bring in that sort of mindset for Sacramento to come in and play some good defense against Spurs. Spurs are going to go ahead and do their job as they normally do. And I just don't see them getting over this total. So I'm going to go under that 206 with the Spurs and the Kings. All right, so quick recap. We got Atlanta and Washington under the 204.5. Boston, Chicago over the 210.5. Los Angeles and Portland under the 209, and San Antonio, Sacramento under the 206.5. So 3 underplays, 1 overplay. And let's see how we do on this slate of games. Please check SBR for the best odds, and I wish you luck on all your plays today.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.